All right, welcome once again to a beatzillapdx official news break. I'm your host, beatzillapdx officially. And this, of course, is a news break. And today, I just real quickly want to talk about somebody who got a new job. They got a promotion and a new chopper suit. Corinne Shea Pierre, as we call her here on the Beatzilla PDX official show, has went and graduated from the press secretary or the White House press liar to now being the second in line command next to Joe Biden. She is now the top advisor to Joe Biden. So now when you see him walking in, you'll see her. And, you know, it's kind of how things have went. So for those who missed Biden's press conference, here's some of the things that he said.
There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
And there was a little more that took place. And so let's take a look at this.
Go ahead. Nandita, sir. Sir. No, sir. I didn't call on you, sir. I didn't call on you. Nandita. Nandita. Go. Nandita.
Reaction, sir.
I will pray and fast.
Okay, that's acceptable to you in terms of Israel's response. How long are you okay with Israel bombing Lebanon? What is acceptable to you? All right, guys, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. On long-range weapons?
Do you want to reconsider dropping out of the race?
I'm back in.
What made you want to come here today, Mr. President?
All right, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Please come back.
So, after that, Corinne done got promoted. And, I wonder if everything is okay on the DNC front between the parties of the camps and people behind Joe Biden and people with Kamala Harris. If they're not communicating, it seems as if they didn't. And so some of the other things that are happening, some of the other pundits seem to also be somewhat bothered by Joe Biden's showing up. And I found this to be very interesting. Now, let me get this in here for
y'all. On Thursday, when Liz Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris, Joe Biden felt compelled to go. Biden does keep popping up. On Thursday, when Liz Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris, Joe Biden felt compelled to go over and talk to reporters about how he felt about the speech. On Friday, when Joe Biden felt like he had had a good week at the White House and wanted to go to the briefing room to talk about it, they did not coordinate that with the Harris campaign. The Harris campaign found out about that a couple minutes before he showed up. He showed up right after Kamala Harris went on stage in Detroit. I can tell you that a lot of people on the Harris campaign did not find that helpful. Biden in the next couple of days is headed to Angola and Germany. It's not like a really pressing foreign trip they have to take. A lot of people in the Harris campaign wish that he would maybe go away for longer at this point. This is a tricky situation over this last month of the campaign where you see voters are saying that they want change from where things are. And Harris has to embody and embrace that change and speak to that change while also being a quasi-incumbent and having Donald Trump and J.D. Vance attack her as if she has been the one signing the executive orders.
And the reason that that's happening is because that's what's happening. And so when you're the one signing those executive orders and being right there in the room, and again, you can't justify her qualifications by she's vice president. Of course she's qualified. Who else is more qualified than her? Well, the former president, for one. But, nobody voted for her. So there's an important part of the conversation. And everybody seems to forget that. Now, amongst all of these other issues, we have a major disaster left in the southeast region of our country from Hurricane Helene. And, there's been a lot of talk and speculation about FEMA money. FEMA said they had not had enough money. There's right now Hurricane Milton that is slowly moseying, if not already made it to 5. So it was Category 4 earlier today, this being Monday. And then by what I seen just not too long ago, my last alert was that it was on its way to making a Category 5 hurricane, which that would be like Katrina. And it's cutting on a direct path to Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay is not no little town or nothing like that. This is about to cut through a metropolitan city, a cruise port at that. This has the potential to really wreck shop. And I don't know if people are understanding, like, America, to get into the argument that we should be spending any money at a time of crisis like this to other countries is unbelievable. So to give Zelensky $8 million, now you're pledging hundreds and 20s of the billions over to Lebanon. So 8 billion walks out, 120 something billion over here. And for some reason, you believe you're going to just pacify Americans. And the rumor is, no, what they said was $750. Everything else you have to apply for. Hopefully you have enough electricity and cell service and Wi-Fi to be able to make that happen. Instead of boots on the ground, you got people like the bootlicks out here, upstaging Democrats. I see that there was a Win with Black Men call. I'm not certain if they came up with a plan for relief and helping and assisting, because if you guys remember my broadcast Friday, I most definitely pointed that out. Where are they? Where's the Win with Black Women? Where's Win with Black Men and Win with whoever to be coming up? If you could get $40 million for a political campaign, then you most definitely should be able to come together and help your fellow American brothers and sisters. That's not too much to ask, I wouldn't think. But, with that being said, maybe that's what was taking place. I'm not certain, but I did see their meeting. It could have been completely about campaign and combating misinformation and disinformation. The only disinformation is right now is that you want people to believe something against what they have already witnessed. And to say that these illegals haven't gotten a bunch of FEMA money, you have to turn around and admit you did. And now they're trying to say that FEMA gave immigrants money, but it's misinformation to say that they gave Americans money to illegals. How? Well, they're from different accounts. let that be the case. Let it be from different accounts. Is it FEMA? FEMA is something that is explicitly supposed to be helping citizens. Why is it helping non-citizens like that? Because they're in distress in this country? They're not. They came here looking for a better life, and you foot the bill to make sure that happened. Now that Americans are suffering, you're having Democratic shields run out here to run interference with people facing another hurricane? And you're worried about disinformation? If you guys are still subscribing to this Democratic nonsense, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. But when you have everybody else that can understand and have the mental capacity to say, this is the moment you become a citizen and help your fellow citizens. Where is that in the Democratic Party? Today, the anniversary, 1-year anniversary of October 7th, The View comes out to do Donald Trump bashing day. You could be talking about anything else, but you come out to maintain Donald Trump's relevance. And then you blame everybody else for him being relevant. What he's saying right now is because people are saying it. And here's the really negative thing that I believe will really show itself come November. You cannot keep saying nothing. When asked a direct question, I'm assuming the interview for Kamala Harris is going to air sometime this week with her in 60 Minutes. But there's snippets and clips out there now. The whole not answering a direct question thing. You want to be running the country. If someone says people feel that under the other president things were better, how do you feel? We don't need an explanation. We don't need a soliloquy. All we need for you to do is look in the camera and say, yes, it's better now because of X, Y, and Z. That is all we need. Not now there's memes and skits that people are playing imitating Kamala Harris's answering skills. And it's all about flim-flamming. She's became that person within this short amount of time. She's going to be president meme, but not president of the United States with that. This is the time of not cackling. This isn't the time of worrying about your emotions. You are on the brink of World War III, and these people are worried about how they feel. Not only that, let me also say, all of that money that y'all want, y'all black men with black women and men with black men, all that money you got for Kamala Harris to help her campaign is only being spent on white and non-black media. She goes to MSNBC to have an interview. She doesn't call up on Joy Reid. She calls up on the white woman. Seems like she couldn't get out of the NABJ fast enough. There's clips of that. That shows you where she's at with it. People like myself and others have long told you Kamala Harris hates black men. Prove me wrong. There's none around her. The same moist dude that was around her when she was dancing in her first failed campaign is the same dude right now next to her in the Hip Hop 50 at her house. All of these people that you see around her are not new. Those are the people that work for her. But there's no heterosexual black men over there. None. They don't have no heterosexual black folks at the White House. Now, not in no position. That should say something. And so, with that being said, I want to take a look at now the elevated Corinne Shapiro, who is now the top advisor to the President of the United States. I would have to wonder, why is that now? Why is all of this happening now? But let's see how this happens, because again, if Joe Biden can show up at the press as old and near retirement as he is, where's Kamala? But she just promised all of that money to Lebanon. You thought that they was going to let it slip? Of course not.
On this issue of funding, the administration has money to send to Lebanon without Congress coming back.
Facts.
But Congress does have to come back to approve money to send to people in North Carolina.
Make it make sense.
Here's what I'm going to be very clear about. The president and the vice president has had a robust whole of government response to this. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I said it at the top, more than $200 million that we have directly put towards survivors here for disaster help. And that's because of this president's commitment to make sure that we are there for communities that are impacted. We take this very seriously again. We take this very seriously. And before
did I just detect a little bit of shade? Because, you know, this is the Biden-Harris administration. It's very interesting that she took this moment to grandstand on Joe Biden. She didn't even mention the vice president. Did I miss something?
the hurricane hit, we pre-positioned more than 1,500 federal folks on the ground to help. And so we have made sure that every state has gotten their storm requested emergency declaration. They requested it, and we made sure they received it. We've taken this very seriously. More than $200 million that we have provided to the impacted areas. But instead, people want to do disinformation, misinformation, which is dangerous, because then when folks on the ground hear that, they may not want to ask for the help that they need. That is there for them.
Who the hell is not asking for the help? No one is doing that. The only reason that you're hearing anything out here is because people are not getting the help that they're asking for. And then they might not be receiving the help that you're up here claiming they're getting. Now, yeah, people might be getting money, but who is it being dispersed to?
That is there for them. That's our focus here.
But President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you don't, yes, it's misinformation.
Is there money to send to Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area. And I just shared with you that people are deciding not to,
wait. To Congress that there's not enough money to help people in
We're
North
talking
Carolina.
about the SBA disaster loan.
That's
Yes.
money for people in North Carolina.
And that's important. And people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress come together. They provide money, millions of dollars.
Ma'am, you just got caught in a lie. So what you said was just not true, and he just disproved it. So you see how she just hurdled over her own lie that he just disproved? And then she's moving. She didn't even worry about the goalpost. She just said, screw it. We're just going to keep running. And this is why I call her Shay Pierre. You some kind of third worlder to be able to lie like this. I mean, my goodness, you got confronted with the truth about your lie. And you just hurdle right on over that and keep on pushing. Wow. Ice cold, boy. Shay Pierre got ice in the vizanes. And again, up to this point, we are 2.5 minutes in. Have you heard her mention the vice president yet? Let's continue.
For disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden
doing
sent to
for
Johnson,
some
McConnell,
time.
Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation. There's money that we are allocating to the impacted areas, and there's money there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding,
Yeah.
and it's
Question
there.
that you don't like misinformation.
I said
That's
that
very
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of Hurricane Helene and also Hurricane Milton. Now,
wait a minute, though.
FEMA is tremendously prepared. This is what we do. This is what they do. And the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires, also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas sounding the alarm on FEMA funding right after the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Listen.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This all comes as the Biden-Harris administration spent over $1 billion from a FEMA program on services for migrants. Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Ashley Moody, joins me now. AG Moody, why does the
That's hundreds of millions dollars worth of misinformation. It's over $500 million worth of misinformation per 1 year, per two. That's over $1 billion. Yeah, that's not misinformation. If you have 6 billion 1 year and 6 billion the next, you are now, especially because of those numbers, you're at $13 billion. That's not lightweight. It would make sense why things are depleted. 2 years at that clip? Are you kidding? Yeah, it's a crisis, ma'am. At some point, you guys got to admit it. And this is a hell of a crisis. This is disastrous. But let's hear finish it out because, she's hired to lie. You got promoted.
Now there's going to be a shortfall, right? Because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be. And so we're going to need additional funding. We're going to need additional funding.
But you had the money. That's why people are getting at you now. $13 billion went to illegals. And you would have $13 billion in your budget had you not did that. So to keep calling that disinformation, misinformation, that's absolutely false. Well, it's not from this account. It's this account. FEMA is an organization that has the ability to move around its funds based on the circumstance of the situation they're addressing. So this money that they did use and that is no longer available should be available for American citizens. And you guys keep getting out here repeating the same, it's disinformation, it's this. No, it's not. Because bottom line was that money there to ensure the safety of American citizens? Yes. Anything outside of that was this administration covering their own mistake. It's not the American public's fault or duty to support a very bad decision by this administration to let all of these illegals in here. You just now finally want to get around to doing something because it's time for the election. And now you want to naturalize these people to whom you've been making a middle class, but still poor mouthing American citizens. Why would they vote for you? And you're not offering deportations. At this point, I think you should know deportations have to be on the table for a successful election for a Democrat. If you don't have deportations in your conversation, you are going to take a L. Abortion rights is not anything that anyone has ever won on in America. Not at this level. No one. That's the most idiotic. You know how alienated that is? Basically, what they did was took the gender war mainstream, but they're not labeling it as a gender war. But at the end of the day, abortion is a one gender issue. Because remember, no man can tell you what you do with your body. So all men are excluded from that conversation. What does abortion mean to me? The only thing I can do is reject that notion. Why? Because it's based from eugenics. It is anti-Black from its inception and its roots. Why would I accept my own something that was established for my genocide? That makes no sense. But a lot of Black folks do it. I'm just not one of them. Let's finish it out.
What I just asked about, and you said it was misinformation.
What you're asking me is why Congress needs to come back and do their job. That's what you're asking me. Congress needs to come back and do their job and provide extra assistance, extra.
But there was already money there.
That's what Congress needs
to do. That ain't what he asked.
We're going to continue to urge that. You may not want that, but that's okay. That's what this president wants, and that's what the vice president wants. Thanks, everybody.
That nasty suit. So she walks off because she got pressed about that question. Because at the bottom line is the money is supposed to be there. And so the money not being there, and we know where it went, it's time now to fess up and say, yeah, it went to the illegals. Because if it didn't go to the illegals, then that money would be available. And unfortunately, you keep saying how it's not available. So maybe some of y'all will look at this and say, man, you guys is being too rough on folks and this and that. Let me tell you something. The reason why there's not enough money, and like I just said, Hurricane Milton is on a path as a hurricane, Category 5 hurricane, headed toward a major city. You remember what happened last time when it cut through New Orleans. Well, this is cutting through Tampa Bay in that area now. This is a 5. This is nothing to play with. This is a Category 5. This is get out time. They're telling people to leave. So this is worse than Helene. Like this thing that's coming right now, this Milton ain't no joke. If y'all are in the path of that, if you can by all means get to safety. And for those who are already being affected, for all the folks I know, like Tina Berry and family down there, y'all be safe. Y'all be safe. Y'all be safe. Prayers and blessings and protection toward y'all. Because, it's coming. My brother Black Alpha Network, these guys about to go through a whole nother deal. Now they might be getting a little residual, but nonetheless, man, it's a Hurricane 5, dude. Like this is major. So batten down the hatches and everybody who can, man, hop in them cars and start heading for the hills, baby, because Hurricane 5, we already seen it is nothing to take light. So Lord willing, it'll die down and it won't be that ferocious by the time it hits y'all, but this one is not looking pretty at all. And there's a huge eye of that storm. So yeah, if y'all they evacuating y'all, believe them. Y'all seeing you? They can show you the map, and they showing you what it's looking like. So anything that big, you got to get out. You got to get out. That thing is circulating. It's almost covering the whole Gulf. Get out if they're telling you to leave. So, family, I don't know how the people are justifying doing anything behind this administration. And then on top of that, you're looking at Kamala Harris. Are you paying attention that there is an implosion happening among the White House staffers? So you have Joe Biden's folks, him and Shea Pierre, which all she spoke about was Joe Biden. In this particular administration, it's all she spoke of. She made no mention of Kamala Harris at all. There is some issues, obviously. I'm picking up on some issues, and the other video that you've seen is giving you a little context from Kamala's camp. So everybody over there ain't too happy with Joe Biden coming out saying what he's saying. But at the end of the day, America, let me tell you, we are here in this position because of both of these people, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And for those of you who say, but they actually had the best and strongest bill ever, the only reason that they needed to present any bill at this time is because of the bills they already dismantled to create this problem that they have now spent upwards over $13 billion for. But $750 for you? Oh no! Oh man, it needs more. But see, what you can do is you can apply over here, and then you could jump through this red tape and these hoops, and then you go ahead and give your firstborn, and then maybe you'll get a check. But if you come over this place illegally, all we need you to do is download this app. Download this app. Go ahead and put your little information in on the app. Bam, you are in and covered legally. Not as much harm and work, and then you'll get instructions in an email and say, go down to this office and sign up, or you might not even have to go depending on where you are, and then you'll just sign in on your phone. And then the checks will just start coming through. You'll be able to go, they'll point you in where you can go get vouchers, because you know what? That whole system is set up through these other 501c3s, so the general public like myself wouldn't even know that these things exist. They got ready to go out, vouchers for food and all of that right now. No hesitation on food stamps. They getting it, and getting a lot. We didn't even know that you can get that much money in food stamps. We're seeing outrageous numbers. And all of this was done on this day here.
We had a very busy and active day today, as you all know, but I wanted to take a moment to go through the 15 executive actions, or highlights of them, I should say, and some of the steps that the president asked agencies to take today. You should have all received copies of the executive orders as well as the accompanying fact sheets, but I want to take this moment to highlight them for the American public who are watching at home. He signed a proclamation effective immediately, halting further funding or construction of the previous administration's border wall and terminating the so-called national emergency used to wastefully divert billions for wall construction. Also today, President Biden sent an immigration bill to Congress. The U.S. Citizenship Act modernizes our immigration system. It provides hardworking people who've enriched our communities and lived here for decades an opportunity to earn citizenship. The president's priority reflected in the bill are to responsibly manage the border, keep families together, grow our economy, address the root causes of migration from Central America, and ensure that America can remain a refuge for those fleeing prosecution. With that, I'd love to take your questions. Zeke, why don't you kick us off?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why right here on this broadcast, we tell you, Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. Let it fall and let us rise. And you dig it? Thank you for tuning in. This has been a beatzillapdx official news break. And, this one is on cam, of course, as you can tell. But I wanted to go ahead and just break down that video. So that's why we did it this way. And hope you enjoyed it. This week's videos might be a lot more of this style. So there might not even be a live this week. I'll let y'all know by the end of the week. But with that being said, look for more of these. So set your notifications and stay tuned because, there will be more videos. And I hope that you guys are tuning in. If you haven't followed me on X, make sure you do that, as well as Instagram and Facebook at beatzillapdx. Of course, you can email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And, you see the donations. You can support this channel by becoming a member or Cash App. That's $beatzillapdx. Also, PayPal, which is Zilla Music. That's ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. And then, of course, actually, we also have Patreon. We have a Patreon. I'm not really on Patreon like that, but if you would like to support that way, you also can. I need to upload more stuff over there. But with that being said, there definitely is going to be some folks out here who have an issue with what we're talking about, and that's okay. But the one thing about it is, stop coming around us talking about misinformation, disinformation, when we have the factual truth. And the fact is, this is a problem that should have money ready for it, but it doesn't because they spend it on illegals. If you are of the idea that this is the thing you want to vote for, I absolutely disagree. Sure, everybody else here disagrees. And so I can speak for myself. beatzillapdx official, beatzillapdx official show. Those of you in the chat, Grassroots, Voices of New Black Media, I'm sure I speak for everybody involved when we say we proudly dedicate this song to you.
Get up off of that cocaine and get up off of that crack. Get yourself together and get your mind back.
All right, family, you already know we are up out of here, and keep your notification bells on, and always remember, hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Have a blessed one.